So, reading slumps. Today I want to talk about reading slumps with you guys because I haven't read a book in a really long time, that's why. So, yeah, let's talk about reading slumps, which sounds like lumps. My lovely lady lumps. Check it out. Before we get into like my discussion or just kind of the way that I see reading slumps, I wanted to kind of tell you what my definition of reading slumps are. I think that a reading slump is a period of time when you have the desire to read, so you want to read, but you just can't. You can't get into the book that you're reading or to the multiple books that you're trying to read. You can't get into it because of the characters or because of the story or just because you have this general feeling of not being able to read or just whatever it is. You can't read a book or the books that you try to read. And then, for me, the thing that I think I'm in at the moment is a reading break. For me, a reading break is when you have no desire to read, you don't want to read, and you just don't, because, you know, if you don't have a desire to read, why would you read? That would be crazy. Unless you're in high school. I'm sorry for you. But yeah, I mean, college is the same anyway, but yeah. So, those are the kind of, the ways that I see reading slumps and reading breaks. I'm in a reading break, like I said. I've been in it for about a month. I've just had no desire to read for such a long time, and I kind of want myself to want to read, but I don't want to read, so I'm just not reading. I don't really know why I'm in a reading break, to be honest, but I've accepted it. I've watched 4 seasons of Dexter, 6 seasons of True Blood, and 7 seasons of Supernatural within the last month, so I'm doing other stuff. Obviously, I'm really productive. But yeah, so I think that reading breaks are totally natural. I used to do them all the time without thinking about it. I mean, that's kind of saying that I was doing it without thinking about it. I was just, before, I wasn't really going on like a reading break. I was just not reading for like a while. That's all it was. It didn't need to have a name before. Life was simpler before. Also, I think it's really interesting the effect that book breaks and book slumps have on me as a booktuber or someone in the booktuber community. I think it has kind of negative effects. The first effect that it has is that it makes me feel like I'm not passionate about reading or about books, that I don't love to read books or talk about books. And that's because I'm not reading right now, and I don't feel like reading, and I question that. I'm like, why don't you feel like reading books, Dylan? Do you not love books anymore? Do you not love to read? Are you not passionate about that anymore? And so, I don't, it's real. I know that that's not true. I know that I'm just taking a break from it. You need separation from stuff. You need to take a break from the things that you love every now and again. You know, there's too much of a good thing is bad. But it's really hard to remind myself of that. Like, not logically, obviously, because I can logically explain that to myself, but just as a feeling, it's really hard to make myself see that when I'm not reading. Like, I'm not reading anything, so it's really hard to say, but you love reading, Dylan, when I don't feel like reading, if that makes sense at all. And then the other thing that it does is it makes it really hard for me to create content, for me to make videos on BookTube, on YouTube, because I'm not reading, like I said before, and so I feel like I have nothing to bring to the table. And also, there's that whole, you know, I don't feel like I'm passionate about reading, even though I am. I am passionate about books. I'm still passionate about books right now. I still love reading, and I still love talking about reading, because I could talk for days, but I don't know, there's just that slight tinge, that slight feeling of just, what are you doing making videos about books when you're not actually reading anything, or you don't feel like reading? So it's just, that's why I haven't made that many videos, if you've noticed. I don't know, I feel like I haven't made that many videos this month, and it's because of that feeling of I'm not reading any books, so I shouldn't be making any videos, which I know is wrong. I know both of those thoughts are wrong. I am passionate about books. I should make videos about books, and I can do that even if I'm not reading, and you can do that even if you're not reading. But I don't know, I just have those thoughts in my head. My head needs to calm down and stop thinking so much. I should focus on doing homework, which I should be doing right now. But yeah, if you're a booktuber, or if you feel that way about reading slumps or reading breaks, if those things have that effect on you, then tell me what are your tips for that? What are your tips for feeling like you shouldn't be making videos, or like you've lost your passion for something when you know you haven't? But yeah, so like I said, I think that reading breaks are perfectly normal, that we all go through them, and that, you know, they're part of part of normal life that, isn't booktube. Booktube is just this crazy life where you have to read all the time. You don't have to read. But yeah, I just, I want to get back to the basics, back to the simpler times. But reading slumps, on the other hand, are really sucky. I hate reading slumps. I have been on reading slumps, but only for very short times, like a week or something like that. Read a favorite book that you've read before. Read something that you know you're gonna like, because obviously you'll like it and you'll enjoy it. Or maybe you could mix it up. Read something that you never read before. If you haven't read manga before, read a manga book. If you haven't read some genre before, read that genre. Or go book shopping. Book shopping just fixes everything. And you'll find some really interesting books, and whenever you go book shopping, or whenever I go book shopping, I'm always like really excited when I leave with books about those books, and that is encouraging and helps you to want to read. So those are my little tips for if you're in a book slump. But if you're in a book break, then just enjoy it. Watch all of the supernatural that you can, because that's what I have done. And yeah, I hope you've enjoyed this. Tell me what you think about reading slumps and reading breaks and all of the readingness and stuff in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll see you next time. Bye!